My history of the club dates back to 1974 when I came over as a player to play A grade, and after 12 months playing with A grade, I took on the role of secretary, succeeding Bob Collins. Secretary for quite a few years, senior secretary, because we had two separate committees, two separate juniors and seniors, and there were some shortfalls in the club. Shortfalls is that we didn't have a continuity from under sevens right through to A grade. There was a gap that basically mid-teens to senior football, and with a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication, we actually founded and gave a pathway that the club grew and got stronger, became unified in about 1977, and from that unification we won our first club championship in 1978, and from then on we've won others and junior incentive shields, and the club's just got stronger and stronger to the present day, where it actually is one of the, in the community, one of the strongest sporting clubs in our district. Jasper Oval was wasn't the initial home of the Bulls A grade. It started off at Showground Road, a couple of games at Yattendon Oval, and then Crestwood, Jasper became the home of the Hills A grade. In about 1979, Winston Hills needed the ground to share because theirs was getting renovated. And by 1980, they had approached council to take over full control of Jasper Oval, and we were extradited. We actually came to Crestwood Oval as a senior club to join the juniors. And in this field here, we had basically just open paddocks, or fields. Change rooms were over at the tennis shed, some 500 metres away. No fencing, no lighting, but this became our home, and to this day it's still our home. And as it's grown, the club's grown with it. During the off seasons, the A grade needed to come together, try to recruit players, so we started a social touch football games up at Jasper Oval. In 1978, came into a full-blown competition with 16 teams, and from those 16 teams, it grew to a large amount of teams. We actually used, it became so popular, we started using Jasper, Crestwood, International Oval at Seven Hills, Excelsior Avenue at Castle Hill. From that, it became so big is that we actually were running out of grounds to run competitions. It got so big, we had in the early 80s, we had 228 teams, and a chap by the name of Phil Smith rang me from New South Wales Touch and said, you have to become affiliated. And the affiliation meant that we had to pay referees, we had to change the rules, and we had to increase our registration fees. And we didn't want to borrow that because the game was for the community, it wasn't for profit organisations. So we declined that, and he put an embargo on players that played up here that they couldn't play affiliated New South Wales Touch anywhere else. So that was a bit of a decline. But even so, we still had hundreds, well over the 150, 170 teams playing with us, and nowhere to play because the council kept moving, taking grounds off us. So we actually went out to Memorial Avenue, and from Memorial Avenue we put up new lighting. Well, actually touch football put up lighting at Jasper, put up lighting at Memorial Avenue, and council kept moving and taking things away from us. We got locked out at Memorial Avenue on one occasion by the local soccer club. So we actually had to get a Harry de Cafe de Wheels demountable, wired up by Ross Crawley from a Contenry, just to keep surviving. And it still survives to this day, although in a lesser form, but it's been going since 1978 till now. We found that the majority of players playing touch were probably of a different demographic as far as they weren't athletes. They were players that just wanted to go out and play. Starting touch football and maintaining a marker rule and 7-a-side was different to the New South Wales touch as it had evolved, mainly because we actually were catering for the wider community, which were less agile, less mobile, and so the marker rule and the 7-a-side was to keep continuity with the aspects of rugby league tackle football. So that's how it's inherited and that's how it's maintained all these years. Initially, it was more of a recruitment, is to actually encourage people to come and be at Hills and stay at Hills as a recruitment. The financial part of it for the first 5 years wasn't a consideration at all. In fact, history proves is that we actually put nearly as much money back into the touch football as in jackets and prize money, referees, kitting and trophies and jackets. All that all came out of the size of the competition. Actually turned it into a financial windfall for us that lasted for probably a couple of decades, really, that helped us get us buoyant in the financial field. So one of the constraints is that we didn't want to kill the goose with the golden egg by taking money off people who were supporting us. If we supported them, they would support us. My coaching philosophy is that while playing with various coaches in my senior years, it came to me that coaching wasn't about actually coaching, it was actually management. Is that everybody played eyes up, they just played what was in front of them. My philosophy in coaching was to actually get people to read the game, is to play to, not a structure, but to play eyes up, is to play, know what's coming a ruck ahead. So we would actually plan to be in a certain part of the field to come back to, so we always were planning ahead to look for weaknesses, because we started to concentrate on reaction of the opposition to see what we would do. And from that we were successful, and that born about is that success built on success. So that philosophy is that don't inhibit a player, let him play eyes up, let him play to his skills and coach his skills. Don't try to introduce and force him to play something that's not natural to him. And that seems to work for me. We're trying to enhance their qualities, and enhancing their qualities, you actually get the best result and you make a happier player out of it. And they all go hand in hand. If you've got that, then people enjoy playing. It's easy. It's not arduous and it's not hard, because that's what they want to do. So if you've got a player that wants to do something, it's easy to coach. If you lost a game, and I look back at a lot of those games, if you lost a game, we actually didn't lose to mugs. If we got beat, they had to beat us fair and square. They didn't. It wasn't like they were just, we rolled over. That's a good thing about it, is that you actually change your character. You actually get a little bit of resilience in your lifestyle of saying, oh yeah. My involvement in sport has basically helped me in my career, because I'm a little bit more, confident about making decisions and having a commitment to your ideals, etc. So you don't move them away. That's who you are. It's essential to have an amalgamation of the seniors and juniors and a pathway from under 7s through to A grade. Is that the recruitment and the development of players comes from within. History shows us that without it, you have to recruit players or coerce players to come and play for Hills from other clubs. So it has a negative effect not only for Hills but also for other clubs, is that we were robbing our rivals. In the concept of sport, that's not how it should run. We should actually develop from within. If you have a product that is actually functioning well, as Hills are currently, Players will come to you. You don't have to go out after the players. Players will come to you. This community is now huge, and as you can see from the growth of the Hills to this year, is that it is a massive operation within the community, and the community are better for it because there's a lot of people involved. Touch, OzTag, Rugby League, the girls, the coaches, the managers, the administrators. It's a huge part of the people's life, and as you find, as we all find, as you go through life, it doesn't leave you. You actually still be a member long after your playing days. The 50-year anniversary book was a culmination of a lot of work by a number of people. The best thing is that the willingness for people to provide memorabilia to the association, stories, history, was pleasing, is that how many people are endeared to the Hills District Rugby League Club. And that can attest to the attendance on the night. Some over 800 people in attendance. Haven't had a bad word about it. It was run efficiently. It was diverse. It catered for all the different membership, from the ladies to the men to the juniors. And it's something that you cherish, and then you realise through that long hard work by a number of players, a number of committee people, ex-players, it's kind of a reward for efforts over a long period of time, is that it comes together, is that that's what being part of a club is. It's like being part of a family. And I think that's what comes first. And from that, I think that there was a cliche-born club, team, player. And everyone buys into that now. And that's a long difference from a long time ago, how it's come about, but it's where it is now, and that's how it'll continue. You talk to many people, and people actually ask, what do you think about how Hills are now as when you're running around? My answer to that would be, they're very successful. And success is a funny thing, is that I went to a school called Greystanes, and their motto was, success smiles on effort. I never knew what that was until I actually give sport away, or give coaching away, and then looked back and went, success is not always measured by jackets or trophies. It's kind of measured by what you deem as success and how long term it is. Jackets and trophies exist in memory, but the characteristics that players and people get from being part of a club, whether it be a manager or a coach, a player, a supporter, a cheer girl, is that the characteristics you give to everybody, that is what success is. And I think that although we pride ourselves on what we achieve, we probably don't give enough credits to how many lives you've changed over 60 years are better for it for playing for the Hills. That's the best way I could sum it up. You can walk anywhere and people will come up and shake your hand and say, and they have good words to say to you because you're involved with something that, and it's not necessarily because you won a comp together, but because we see blokes up in the hill all the time. We're all good mates because we all had a common denominator, which was playing together. I remember after we won the C grade, Andrew Timmins said that this is the one thing I wanted to do all my football career at Hills was to win a jacket.